The Democrats just never give up on getting their grubby paws on President Trump's tax returns. It's none of their business and they have already seen some of them, but because he wasn't nailed by the Mueller report on Russian collusion, they are going back to trying to get at them again. The Democrats did promise they would investigate Trump's finances, and that's what they are now going for. This last week, House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Richard Neal, DMA, announced that he has formally requested that the IRS turn over at least 6 years' worth of Donald Trump's personal tax returns, specifically for the years 2013 through 2018. According to his official letter to Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, Neal has also requested financial documents related to Trump's trusts, holding and acquisition companies, and his Bedminster, New Jersey golf club. I sincerely hope that Trump's legal counsel quashes that request. From the Daily Wire, Neal has apparently done his research. He made the request under a little-known statute, Internal Revenue Code 6103F, that allows the chair of the House Committee on Ways and Means, or the chair of any finance committee in Congress, specifically, to request the personal tax records of any individual, provided that, once produced, they are kept secret and confidential. There's a catch on the confidentiality, too. If the records make their way to regular members of Congress, who end up reviewing them, the seal of confidentiality is broken, and Trump's records could then be made public, according to Fox News legal expert, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Even CNN describes the request as rooted in a legal technicality. Trump brushed off the request Thursday, telling reporters, "Is that all? Oh, usually it's 10, so I guess they're giving up." He added that he does not believe the Treasury Secretary or the IRS has to provide Congress with his tax returns so long as he is under audit, as he currently claims to be. Now, we're under audit, despite what people said. We're working that out as, I'm always under audit it seems. But I've been under audit because the numbers are big, and I guess when you have a name you're audited, but until such time as I'm not under audit I would not be inclined to do that, Trump added. Neal told CNN that he believes his request will be fulfilled, though perhaps not without a fight. I am certain we are within our legitimate legislative, legal, and oversight rights, Neal said in a statement emailed to news outlets, adding that his request is about policy not politics. My preparations were made on my own track and timeline, entirely independent of other activities in Congress and the administration, Neal added. My actions reflect an abiding reverence for our democracy and our institutions, and are in no way based on emotion of the moment or partisanship. I trust that in this spirit, the IRS will comply with federal law and furnish me with the requested documents in a timely manner. Of course, such a suggestion, that Neal's motivation has nothing to do with partisanship, seems patently false. Democrats have been promising a full investigation into Donald Trump's finances since Trump first took office, and activist groups have only clamored more forcefully for Trump's tax returns in the wake of the Mueller report, which dashed their hopes of a quick and easy impeachment. House Democrats are also filing multiple demands to see Trump's taxes. Both Adam Schiff, DCA, and Rep. Maxine Waters, DCA, have said they will issue subpoenas not just to the IRS but to various banks that had dealings with Trump and his companies. This is sheer harassment and should not be allowed. It needs to be stopped once and for all. The Dems are doing this to stop Trump from getting anything done so they can have their way politically. It's political warfare. President Trump is being very dismissive of all this, and I understand that sentiment. But he must know that the Dems are as dangerous as rabid dogs right now. The president's congressional allies registered immediate and fierce disapproval. The top Republican on the House Ways and Means Committee, Kevin Brady, RTX, wrote to Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin to decry what he called Democrats' abuse of their authority. He's right, of course. Weaponizing our nation's tax code by targeting political foes sets a dangerous precedent and weakens Americans' privacy rights. As you know, by law all Americans have a fundamental right to the privacy of the personal information found in their tax returns, Brady said in the letter. This particular request is an abuse of the Tax Writing Committee's statutory authority, and violates the intent and safeguards of Section 6103 of the Internal Revenue Code as Congress intended. Brady also said that, while transparency in our government is enormously important, the privacy and freedom of all taxpayers is paramount, and that Congress should pass new disclosure laws if it sees a problem. Violating the privacy rights of one taxpayer, Brady asserted, begins the process of eroding and threatening the privacy rights of all taxpayers. Yes, it does. And that's exactly what the Democrats have in mind. They have weaponized the IRS, the intel agencies and our own government against us as well as President Trump. It's time something was done about that, and I hope that Trump does not give an inch on this. Message from We Build the Wall Incorporated. Important. April 11th deadline. If you donated to Brian Kolfage's wall fund before January 11th and you want your contribution to go towards construction of the wall, you need to tell GoFundMe before April 11th by clicking the link below. If you do not tell GoFundMe before April 11th, your contribution will be refunded and will not be used to build the wall. Construction is expected to begin this month. Click here to OPT and to have your money go towards building the wall. Donate now to build the wall with Brian Kolfage. Click below. Democrat 2020 presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke evidently feels campaign rules are for other lesser candidates. Not for him, the left's Kennedy reincarnate. He funneled approximately $110,000 in campaign funds to a private web development company he and his wife owned at one time while he served as a congressman, according to fake rules. It's that other way of making money. O'Rourke's campaign, Beto for Texas, donated money to Stanton Street Technology Group in several different election cycles. That's shady and unethical at best and smells of corruption. The campaign donated $58,544 to the group between 2011 and 2012, $39,060 between 2013 and 2014, $9,290 between 2015 and 2016, and $32,778 between 2017 and 2018, according to Federal Election Commission, FEC, records obtained by the Daily Caller. From Breitbart, during that time, either O'Rourke or his wife owned Stanton Street Technology Group, a web development firm created by O'Rourke in 1998. The payments to the firm are legal if the campaign sends a bill for the cost of the services, but some people have criticized the practice as unethical, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported. Amy Sanders O'Rourke, Beto's wife, took over the web development firm when the Texas Democrat began serving in Congress in January 2013. She took the helm of the firm until March 2017, when she sold her share of the company for $100,001 to $1 million, according to a 2017 financial disclosure report for Beto O'Rourke's campaign. Beto O'Rourke is not the only Democrat to be accused of funneling campaign money to a private company. An fake complaint released Wednesday alleged that Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, DNY, ran a subsidy scheme to go around federal campaign requirements. As stated, this is legal as long as the candidate doesn't overpay for their own consulting services, but the practice of double-dealing is on the radar of ethics watchdogs and Beto O'Rourke is guilty of it. This is similar to issues pertaining to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her campaign. Her campaign manager also funneled funds to a company he set up and owned. Ocasio-Cortez also sat on the board, and that was apparently attempting to provide services well under fair market value. This is an indicator that Beto is willing to play hardball when it comes to politics and ethics are simply a nuisance to him. Beto O'Rourke's political and business decisions have faced ethical questions in the past. Per the Daily Caller, he faced scrutiny in 2013 after purchasing Twitter stock before it was available to the general public, which ethics watchdogs said was a violation of House rules. Beto O'Rourke faced backlash from local El Paso residents after supporting a development project that converted housing for low-income residents into a retail destination, an endeavor proposed by his wealthy father-in-law. While Democrats are screaming for President Trump's tax returns, they don't seem to be concerned with the business dealings of the O'Rourke clan. Perhaps someone should look into that. I bet it would be fascinating, to say the least. Remember, this guy's family is worth billions and they didn't get that wealthy by playing nice. Beto O'Rourke seems to feel he is above everyone else and the rules don't apply to him. Just imagine what he would do as president. Message from We Build the Wall Incorporated. Important. April 11th deadline. If you donated to Brian Kolfage's wall fund before January 11th and you want your contribution to go towards construction of the wall, you need to tell GoFundMe before April 11th by clicking the link below. If you do not tell GoFundMe before April 11th, your contribution will be refunded and will not be used to build the wall. Construction is expected to begin this month. Click here to OPT and to have your money go towards building the wall. Donate now to build the wall with Brian Kolfage. Click below. Democratic 2020 hopeful Beto O'Rourke backed off his initial opposition to slavery reparations on the fourth day of an Al Sharpton event. This does not shock me in the least. In fact, I would have been surprised if he hadn't pandered to the reparations crowd. The rest of the Democrats are already doing so, and Al Sharpton holds a lot of power in the party these days. Beto said he would support a bill in Congress to study and consider the payments. What boggles my mind is that O'Rourke is a three-term congressman from Texas. How the heck did he ever get elected there? It must be California implants that did it, you know. The Austin crowd. He made his comments in New York before the National Action Network, a civil rights organization founded by Al Sharpton. Sharpton asked O'Rourke if he'd back a measure introduced by Democratic Rep. Sheila Jackson Lee, a fellow Texan. O'Rourke answered, yes. Civil rights are not just those victories that began with at the outset of my comments, but the injustices that have been visited and continue to be visited on people. We will never get the change that we need to live up to the promise of this country. So absolutely, I would sign it into law. This is political and racist pandering at its very worst. Beto has definitely shifted his opinion on slavery reparations, and it's all for 2020 and the Democratic nomination. From Fox News, campaigning in Iowa last month, O'Rourke indicated he was not in favor of traditional reparations but stressed that it was crucial for the nation to confront the truth of how black people have been treated in America and that systematic racism exists in the country. And a few days later, campaigning in New Hampshire, O'Rourke said, I don't believe that reparations should be the primary or initial focus of the conversation. The idea of slavery reparations for black Americans is at least partially backed by 5 Democratic presidential candidates so far, since Kamala Harris of California and Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, former San Antonio Mayor Julian Castro, who served as housing secretary under President Barack Obama, businessman and entrepreneur Andrew Yang, and Rep. Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii, who has co-sponsored Jackson Lee's bill. I think we need to bring about reparations. It's really a question of what is the right way and how, Gabbard told Fox News last month. The push by some Democratic White House hopefuls points to the further importance of race and identity issues within the party. While supporters say reparations are needed to address slavery and other racist aspects of American history, critics say such a move could cost several $1 trillion without solving racism. Jackson Lee, introducing her bill in January, highlighted that the impact of slavery and its vestiges continues to affect African Americans and indeed all Americans in communities throughout our nation. She explained that the measure, formerly known as the Commission to Study and Develop Reparations Proposals for African Americans Act would examine the institution of slavery in the colonies and the United States from 1619 to the present, and further recommend appropriate remedies. The bill currently has more than 30 co-sponsors in the House of Representatives and, last month, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she would support the legislation. Jackson Lee is not only a Marxist. She's also nuts. Anyone who aligns themselves with her or someone as morally bankrupt and corrupt as Al Sharpton is not fit to be president. Sharpton later credited another Democrat vying for the presidential nomination, former San Antonio Mayor Julian Castro, with driving the issue to the forefront in the presidential race with comments he's made in past weeks. So, you see, Sharpton is hedging his political bets just in case. Castro, who spoke more than an hour after O'Rourke at the same National Action Network event, has been outspoken about the need to address the legacy of slavery. He's also your basic racist and communist. I have said many times during the last several weeks that I have long believed that our country will never truly heal until we address the original sin of slavery, Castro said. If, under our Constitution, we compensate people if we take their property, why wouldn't we compensate people who were considered property and sanctioned by the state? He asked the crowd. Make no mistake, The radical leftists of the Democratic Party are now fully pushing slavery reparations. That is money given to those who were never slaves, taken from those who have never owned slaves in the name of social justice and in the form of taxation. And the communists rejoiced. Message from We Build the Wall Incorporated. Important. April 11th deadline. If you donated to Brian Kolfage's wall fund before January 11th and you want your contribution to go towards construction of the wall, you need to tell GoFundMe before April 11th by clicking the link below. If you do not tell GoFundMe before April 11th, your contribution will be refunded and will not be used to build the wall. Construction is expected to begin this month. Click here to OPT and to have your money go towards building the wall. Donate now to build the wall with Brian Kolfage. Click below.